wonderful you're here already. Yeah, I had one of those days. It was very stressful, but now that I'm here with you, it's already starting to melt away. Give me a kiss. I'm gonna go get changed. I'll be right back. What's this? Did you draw me a bath? Oh, you don't know anything about it, do you? Well, then who does? Water spirits that inhabit your bathroom. That only you can talk to. Well, tell them thank you. This is exactly what I needed right now. They say I'm welcome. Oh, what else did they say? Oh, well, they're right. You are very lucky to have me. Thank you. I'm going to get in now. Would you like to keep me company? Maybe put on some soft music. Oh, that's it. What a good boy you are. Oh, this water. No, it's not too hot. I'm simply taking my time before I... How you pick me up so easily. Oh, such a big, strong ogre of a boy, aren't you? What do you mean I was taking too long? Maybe I was simply waiting because I know how much you like to, lower me in. Okay, how much I like when you lower me in. Careful, slowly. I'm trying not to get my hair wet. I want to go straight to bed. Oh, that's it. Oh, that temperature is perfect. Just right. Oops, did I get you all wet? I guess that's too bad. You'll just have to take off those pants, won't you? Oh, and you're wearing the underwear I bought too. You are adorable. Come here. Sit behind me. Yeah, there you go. I'll lean forward. Now would you be a dear and rub my shoulders as we enjoy the water, the soft music? Yeah, I'm so tense after work. Yeah, just like that. Oh, you know how to melt me, don't you? Yes. Now that my feet are warm, I could probably climb into the bed. You're perfect. What do you mean I missed a spot? Show me where. On my neck? Did you just raspberry me? Oh, yeah, you better run. You're making a mess. When I get out of here, you're so dead. Oh. There you are. Yes, I'm all warm. I sure hope you thought of something clever to say as your last words. Oh, trying to buy me off with tea, are we? I suppose we could stay your execution. That's perfect. For now. What would you like to do now that I'm in bed? With hot tea. Or would you like to read our new... Oh, you would like to read that book again, huh? It's a great idea. Whose turn is it to read? Well, then come sit behind me. Scoot in. I want to feel your warm arms wrapped around me. Like that. That's it. Hold me nice and tight. Why is leaning into your chest so comfy? Let's set this down and grab the book. Now, where were we? Oh, that's right. Riddles in the dark. When Bilbo opened his eyes, he wondered if he had, for it was just as dark as with them shut. No one was anywhere near him. Just imagine his fright. He could hear nothing, see nothing, and he could feel nothing except the stone of the floor. Very slowly he got up, groping about on all fours, till he touched the wall of the tunnel. But neither up nor down of it could he find anything. Nothing at all. No signs of goblins, no signs of dwarves. His head was swimming, and he was far from certain even of the direction they had been going when he had had his fall. He guessed as well as he could and crawled along for a good way, till suddenly his hand met what felt like a tiny ring of cold metal lying on the floor of the tunnel. It was a turning point in his career, but he did not know it. He put the ring in his pocket almost without thinking. Certainly it did not seem of any particular use at the moment. He did not go much further, but sat down on the cold floor, gave himself up to complete miserableness for a long while. He thought of himself frying bacon and eggs in his own kitchen at home, for he could feel inside that it was high time for some meal or another, but that only made him miserabler. Such a good book. He could not think what to do, nor could he think what had happened, or why he had been left behind, or why, if he had been left behind, the goblins had not caught him, or even why his head was so sore. The truth was he had been lying quiet, out of sight and out of mind in a dark corner for a long while. After some time he felt for his pipe. It was not broken, and that was something. Then he felt for his pouch. There was some tobacco in it, and that was something more. Then he felt for matches, and he could not find any at all. That shattered his hopes completely. Just as well for him, as he agreed when he came to his senses. Goodness knows what the striking of matches and the smell of tobacco would have brought him out of the dark holes in this horrible place. Still, at the moment, he felt very crushed. But in slapping all his pockets and feeling all around him for matches, his hand came on the hilt of his little sword, the little dagger that he had gotten from the trolls, and he had quite forgotten. Nor, fortunately, had the goblins noticed it, as he wore it inside his breeches. Now he drew it out, It shone pale in the dim light before his eyes. So it is an elven blade too, he thought, and goblins are not very near, and yet not far enough. But somehow he was comforted. It was rather splendid to be wearing a blade made in Gondolin for the goblin wars of which so many songs had sung, and so he had noticed that such weapons made a great impression on goblins that came upon them. Go back, he thought. No good at all. Go sideways? Impossible. Go forward? The only thing to do. So true, isn't it, love? On we go. So up he got and trotted along with his little sword held in front of him and one hand feeling the wall and his heart all of a pitter-patter. Now certainly Bilbo was in what is called a tight place, but you must remember it was not quite so tight for him as it would have been for me or for you. Hobbits are not quite like ordinary people, and after all, if their holes are nice, cheery places, properly aired, they're quite different from the tunnels of goblins. Still, they are more used to traveling in them than we are. They do not easily lose their sense of direction underground, not when their heads have recovered from being bumped. Also, they can move very quietly and hide easily and recover wonderfully from falls and bruises, and they have a fund of wisdom and wise sayings that men have mostly never heard or have forgotten long ago. I should not have liked to have been in Mr. Baggins's place, all the same. The tunnel seemed to have no end. All he knew was that it was still going down pretty steadily and keeping in the same direction, in spite of a twist and a turn or two. There were passages leading off to every side now and then, and he knew by the glimmer of his sword, or could feel it with his hand on the wall. Of these he took no notice except to hurry past for fear of goblins or half-imagined dark things coming out of them. On and on he went, down, and still he heard no sound of anything except the occasional whir of a bat by his ears, which startled him at first, till it became too frequent to bother about. I do not know how long he kept on like this, hating to go on, not daring to stop. On and on, till he was tireder than tired. It seemed like all the way down to tomorrow, and over it to the days beyond. Suddenly, without warning, he trotted splash into water. Ugh, it was icy cold. That pulled him up, sharp and short. He did not know whether it was just a pool in his path or the edge of an underground stream that crossed the passage, or the brink of a deep, dark subterranean lake. The sword was hardly shining at all. He stopped. He could hear, when he listened hard, drops, drip, drip, dripping from an unseen roof in the water below, but there seemed no other sort of sound. So it is a pool or a lake, and not an underground river, he thought. Still, he did not dare to wade out into the darkness. He could not swim, and he thought, too, of nasty, slimy things with big, bulging, blind eyes wriggling in the water. There are strange things living in the pools and lakes in the heart of mountains. Fish whose fathers swam in goodness only knows how many years ago and never swam out again, while their eyes grew bigger and bigger and bigger from trying to see in the blackness. Also, there were other things more slimy than fish. Even in the tunnels and caves the goblins had made for themselves, there are other things living unbeknownst to them that have sneaked in from outside to lie up in the dark. Some of these caves, too, go back in their beginning for ages before the goblins, who only widened them and joined them up with other passages. The original owners are still there in odd corners, slinking and nosing about. Deep down here by the dark water lived old golem, a small slimy creature. I don't know where he came from, nor who or what he was. He was a golem, as dark as darkness, except for two big round pale eyes on his thin face. He had a little boat, and he rowed about quite quietly on the lake, for a lake it was, wide and deep, deadly cold. He paddled it with large feet dangling over the side, but never a ripple did he make, not he. He was looking out of his pale, lamp-like eyes for blind fish, which he grabbed with his long fingers as quick as thinking. He liked meat, too. Goblin, he thought, good when he could get it, but he took care they never found him out. He just throttled them from behind if they ever came down alone anywhere near the edge of the water while he was prowling about. They very seldom did, for they had a feeling that something unpleasant was lurking down there, down in the very roots of the mountain. They had come on the lake when they were tunneling down long ago, and they had found that they could go no further. So their road ended in that direction, and there was no reason to go that way, unless the great goblin sent them. Sometimes he took a fancy for fish from the lake, and sometimes neither goblin nor fish came back. Actually, Gollum lived on a slimy island of rock on the middle of the lake. He was watching Bilbo now from the distance with his pale eyes like telescopes. Bilbo could not see him, but he was wondering a lot about Bilbo, for he could see that he was no goblin at all. Gollum got into his boat and shot off from the island while Bilbo was sitting on the brink, altogether flummoxed and at the end of his way and his wits. Suddenly up came Gollum and whispered and hissed, "Bless us and splash us, my precious. I guess it's a choice feast. At least a tasty morsel it makes us." Gollum. And when he said Gollum, he made a horrible swallowing sound in his throat. That is how he got his name, though he always called himself my precious. The hobbit jumped nearly out of his skin when the hiss came in his ears, and he suddenly saw the pale eyes sticking out to him. "Who are you?" he said, thrusting his dagger out in front of him. "What is he, my precious?" whispered Gollum, who always spoke of himself through never having anyone else to speak to. This is what he had come to find out, for he was not really very hungry at the moment, only curious. Otherwise he would have grabbed first and whispered after. "I am Mr. Bilbo Baggins. I have lost the dwarves, and I have lost the wizard, and I don't know where I am, and I don't want to know. If only I can get away." "What has he got in his handsies?" said Gollum, looking at the sword, which he did not quite like. "A sword, a blade which came out of Gondolin," said Gollum, and became quite polite. "Perhaps he sits here and chats with it a bitsy, my precious. It likes riddles. Perhaps it does it?" He was anxious to appear friendly, at any rate for the moment, and until he found out more about the sword and the hobbit, whether he was quite alone really, whether he was good to eat, and whether Gollum was really hungry. Riddles were all he could think of. Asking them, and sometimes guessing them, had been the only game he had ever played with the other funny creatures sitting in their holes in the long, long ago, before he lost all of his friends and was driven away, alone, crept down here into the dark under the mountains. Very well, said Bilbo, who was anxious to agree until he found out more about the creature, whether he was quite alone, whether he was fierce or hungry, and whether he was a friend of the goblins. You ask first, he said, because he had not time to think of a riddle. So Gollum hissed, What has roots as nobody sees, is taller than trees, up it goes, and yet never grows. Easy, said Bilbo. Mountain, I suppose. Does it guess easy? It must have a competition with us, my precious. If Precious asks, and it doesn't answer, we eats it, my precious. If it asks and we don't answer, then we does what it wants, eh? We show it the way out, yes. All right, said Bilbo, not daring to disagree, and nearly bursting his brain to think of riddles that could save him from being eaten. 30 white horses on a red hill. First they champ, then they stamp, then they stand still. That was all he could think of to ask. The idea of eating was rather on his mind. It was rather an old one, too, and Gollum knew the answer as well as you do. Chestnuts, chestnuts, he hissed. Teeth, teeth, my precious, but we has only 6. Then he asked his second. Voiceless it cries, wingless it flutters, toothless bites, mouthless mutters. Half a moment, cried Bilbo, who was still thinking uncomfortably about eating. Fortunately, he had once heard something rather like this before, and getting his wits back, he thought of the answer. Wind, wind, of course, he said, and he was so pleased that he made up one on the spot. This'll puzzle the nasty little underground creature, he thought. An eye in a blue face saw an eye in a green face. That eye is like to this eye, said the first eye, but in a low place, not a high place. Said Gollum. He had been underground a long, long time, and was forgetting this sort of thing. But just as Bilbo was beginning to hope that the wretch would not be able to answer, Gollum brought up memories of ages and ages and ages before, when he lived with his grandmother in a hole in a bank by a river. My precious, he said. Sun, sun on the daisies, it means it does. But these ordinary, above-ground, everyday sort of riddles were tiring for him. Also, they reminded him of days when he had been less lonely and sneaky and nasty, and that put him in a bit of a temper. What is more, they made him hungry. So this time he tried something a bit more difficult and more unpleasant. Cannot be seen, cannot be felt, cannot be heard, cannot be smelt. It lies behind stars and under hills. Empty holes it fills. It comes first and follows after. Ends life, kills laughter. Unfortunately for Gollum, Bilbo had heard that sort of thing before, and the answer was all around him anyway. Dark, he said without even scratching his head or putting on his thinking cap. A box without hinges, key or lid, yet golden treasure inside is hid. He asked to gain time until he could think of a really hard one. This he thought a dreadfully easy chestnut, though he had not asked it in the usual words, but it proved a nasty poser for Gollum. He hissed to himself, and still he did not answer. He whispered and sputtered. After some while, Bilbo became impatient. Well, what is it? He said. The answer's not a kettle boiling over, as you seem to think from the noise you are making. Give us a chance, my precious. Well, said Bilbo, after giving him a long chance. What is your guess? But suddenly Gollum remembered thieving from nests long ago. sitting under the riverbank teaching his grandmother to suck. Eggs, he hisses. Eggs. Then he asked, alive without breath, as cold as death, never thirsty, ever drinking, all in mail, never clinking. He also in turn thought this was a dreadfully easy one because he was always thinking of the answer. But he could not remember anything better at the moment, so he was so flustered by the egg question. All the same, it was a poser for poor Bilbo, who never had anything to do with the water if he could help it. I imagine you know the answer, of course. Do you? Of course you do. Or can guess it easily as winking, since you are sitting comfortably at home behind me and not have the danger of being eaten disturbing your thinking. Bilbo sat and cleared his throat once or twice. But no answer came. After a while, Gollum began to hiss with pleasure to himself. Is it nice, my precious? Is it juicy? Is it scrumptiously crunchable? He began to peer at Bilbo out of the darkness. Half a moment, said the hobbit, shivering. I gave you a good chance just now. It must make haste, said Gollum, beginning to climb out of his boat and onto the shore to get at Bilbo. But when he put his long, webby foot in the water, a fish jumped out in fright and fell on Bilbo's toes. Ugh, he said, it's cold and clammy. And so he guessed. Fish! Fish! He cried. It is fish! Gollum was dreadfully disappointed, but Bilbo asked another riddle, as quick as he ever could, so that Gollum had to get back into his boat and think. No legs lay on one leg, 2 legs sat near 3 legs, 4 legs got some. It was not really the right time for this riddle, but Bilbo was in a hurry. Gollum might have had some trouble guessing it if he had asked it another time. As it was, talking of fish, no legs was not so very difficult, and after that the rest was easy. Fish on a little table, man sitting at the stool, and a cat has the bones. That, of course, is the answer, and Gollum soon gave it. Then he thought the time had come to ask something hard and horrible. This is what he said. This all things devour, birds, beasts, trees, flowers, gnaws iron, bites steel, grinds hard stone to meal, slays kings, ruins towns, and beats high mountains down. Poor Bilbo sat in the dark, thinking of all the terrible names of giants and ogres he had ever heard told of in tales, but not one of them had done all of these things. He had a feeling that the answer was quite different and that he ought to know it, but he could not think of it. He began to get frightened, and that is bad for thinking. Gollum began to get out of his boat. He flapped into the water and paddled to the bank. Bilbo could see his eyes coming toward him. His tongue seemed to stick in his mouth. He wanted to shout out, "Give me more time, give me time." But all that came out was the sudden squeal of, "Time, time!" Bilbo was saved by pure luck, for that, of course, was the answer. Gollum was disappointed once more, and now he was getting angry and also tired of the game. It had made him very hungry indeed. This time he did not go back to the boat. He sat down in the dark by Bilbo. That made the hobbit most dreadfully uncomfortable and scattered his wits. It's got to ask us a question, my precious. Yes. Just one more question to guess. Yes, said Gollum. But Bilbo simply could not think of any question with that nasty, wet, cold thing sitting next to him, pawing and poking him. He scratched himself. He pinched himself. Still, he could not think of anything. Ask us, said Gollum. Bilbo pinched himself and slapped himself. He gripped on his little sword. He even felt in his pocket with his other hand. There he found the ring he had picked up in the passage and forgotten about. "What have I got in my pocket?" he said aloud. He was talking to himself, but Gollum thought it was a riddle, and he was frightfully upset.
Not fair, he hissed. It isn't fair, my precious. My precious, is it to ask us what it's got in its nasty little pocketses?
Bilbo, seeing what had happened and having nothing better to ask, stuck to his question. "What have I got in my pocket?" he said louder.
Hissed Gollum. It must give us 3 guesses, my precious, 3 guesses.
"Very well, guess away," said Bilbo.
"Handses," said Gollum.
"Wrong," said Bilbo, who had luckily just taken his hand out again. "Guess again," said Gollum, more upset than ever. He thought of all the things he kept in his own pockets. Fish bones, goblins' teeth, wet shells, a bit of bat wing, a sharp tooth to sharpen his fangs on, and other nasty things. He tried to think of what other people kept in their pockets.
"Knife,"
he said at last. "Wrong," said Bilbo, who had lost his some time ago. Last guess. Now Gollum was in a much worse state than when Bilbo had asked him the egg question. He hissed, sputtered, rocked himself backwards, forwards, slapped his feet on the floor, wriggled and squirmed, but still he did not dare to waste his last guess. "Come on," said Bilbo. "I am waiting." He tried to sound bold and cheerful, but did not feel at all sure how the game was going to end, whether Gollum guessed right or not. "Time's up," he said.
"String or nothing," shrieked Gollum,
which was not quite fair, working in 2 guesses at once. "Both wrong," cried Bilbo, sounding very much relieved, and he jumped at once to his feet, put his back to the nearest wall, and held out his little sword. He knew, of course, that the riddle game was sacred and of immense iniquity, and even wicked creatures were afraid to cheat when they played at it. But he felt he could not trust this slimy thing to keep any promise in a pinch. Any excuse would do for him to slide out of it. And after all, that last question had not been a genuine riddle according to the ancient laws. But at any rate, Gollum did not at once attack him. He could see the sword in Bilbo's hand. He sat still, shivering, whispering. At last Bilbo could wait no longer. "Well," he said, "what about your promise? I want to go. You must show me the way."
"Did we say so, precious? Show the nasty little paganses the way out? Yes, but what has it got in his pockets, eh? Not string, precious, but not nothing. Oh no, Gollum." "Gollum."
"Never you mind," said Bilbo. "A promise is a promise."
"Cross it is, impatient precious," hissed Gollum. "But it must wait, yes it must. We cannot go into the tunnel so hastily. We must go and get some things first. Yes, things to help us."
"Well, hurry up," said Bilbo, relieved to think of Gollum going away. He thought he was just making an excuse and did not mean to come back. What was Gollum talking about? What useful things could be kept out on the dark lake? But he was wrong. Gollum did mean to come back. He was angry now and hungry, and he was a miserable, wicked creature who already had a plan. "You're falling asleep, love. I think we should lay down and snuggle." Yes. I am sleepy too. My eyes are tired. Last sip of tea. It's cold now.
down and face me.
Turn around. Oh, it's my turn to wrap you in my arms, pull you to my chest. Thank you for the bath and the tea. But I do owe you for the raspberry, my wonderful boy. Good night. Sweet dreams. Babe? Are you still awake? Poor thing. You look so tired. You've got raccoon eyes. How about I help you go back to sleep? I may not have to, but I want to. And you wouldn't deny Miss what she wants, would you? Good pet. Now come here. Yeah, that's right. Get in close. Lay your head on my shoulder right here. There you go. Well, you can hold me as tight as you want, okay? Shh. You don't need to apologize. You never have to apologize for needing me. Besides, you know how much I love to cuddle. It makes us perfect for each other, doesn't it? Oh, my little snuggle muffin. And I'll just gently stroke your hair, okay? I love doing this for you. Letting you know you're loved, cared for. You're always so good for me, even in the little ways. I love showing you how much I appreciate it all. Well, how much I appreciate you. I do, pet. I do appreciate everything you do for me. Everything you are. What was that? Oh. Well, I love that. I love that smile you get when I do this. That sleepy little grin that crawls your face whenever we cuddle on the couch. Yeah, and you just roll up in a blanket and you lay your head in my lap, play with your hair. You usually fall asleep pretty quick. I love watching you when you're like that. You look so peaceful. And sometimes you make these cute noises. You even tried to cuddle my thighs once or twice. Yeah. I did the same thing that I'm doing now. I just stroked your hair, your scalp. Told you how much I love you, pet. Every time I did, you smile, that same adorable smile that you have right now. It's like looking at a puppy. I get that feeling in my heart. Like I just want to squeeze you so tightly to me. Yeah. Like I want to hold you and never let go. So precious. Just like you, pet. Hey, what did I tell you? Nobody talks bad about my pet. Nobody. Not even you. You're one of those most kind, thoughtful, all around wonderful people I've ever had the pleasure of knowing. So no more talk like that, okay? Shh. Shh. I know it's okay, baby. Just focus on me in this moment. The sound, the feel of my breath as it glides across your skin. My warm hand as I hold you close. Let me take care of my pet. Let Miss take care of her pet like she always has. Like she always will. I love you so much. So much, my wonderful pet. Nothing in the world would make me stop. I know I say it a lot, but it just never feels like enough. There's nothing to be worried about here with me. Sharing our warmth in our nice, cozy bed with our soft sheets. You're with the woman who loves you, cares for you. She's holding you close and giving you lots of little kisses because you are my favorite. Favorite person in the world, pet. I need to make sure that you know that. And since you don't seem to know how wonderful you are, I'll tell you. I love how much you trust me to help you, to care for you, to love on you. I hope you know that not a day goes by when I don't feel honored. Honored by your trust in me, pet. Truth be told, it's one of the most valuable things I have. Well, aside from your heart, maybe. Mm. Mm. I have an idea. Go ahead and move your head down to my chest. There you go. Can you hear my heartbeat? Oh, good. Just keep listening to that. Listen to my heart. And follow my breathing. There you go. My good pet. Sleep, love. I'll be here when you wake up. Sleep for me, baby. Sleep. I love you, pet. Never forget that. Babe. Baby, are you awake? Hi. I don't think you woke me. I've been in and out of sleep for a while now. I keep trying to get into that deep sleep, but no luck. Wait. Let me get my phone. What time is it? Wow, that's bright. It's 2 in the morning. It's a little early, even for me. Everything okay? I mean, besides not being able to go back to sleep. Oh, honey, you're basically fighting with the sheets over there. Maybe I should wrap my arms around you. Oh, like this, would that help? Well, so you stop moving around so much, silly. So wiggly. Maybe I should bring my leg over yours. How's that? I know you like it. Maybe I should roll over on top of you. I like laying on your chest like this. Do I have morning breath? Okay, good. I don't want my dragon mouth to keep you awake. I could lay here looking at your cute face all night long. And smell you. You know, I really love the way you smell. Well, you don't smell like anything in particular necessarily. You just smell nice and clean and fresh. I know it's cliche to say, but you just kind of smell like home. Yeah, it's probably just the detergent and the fabric softener. But there's some you in there for sure. I don't know. It's just a comforting smell. Yeah, reminds me I'm home. That you're with me. Safe. do that easily. When I'm up here on your chest. Still kisses. Good morning to you too. So comfy. You can breathe with me up here. Okay. Shh. I'm not that small. Are you really alright? Yeah. No, I'm just making sure everything's okay. That you're okay. I know you had a pretty busy week. You've been working, studying so much lately. Well, that's exactly why there has been a market increase of shoulder and back rubs lately. You are very welcome, love. Yeah, I'm fine. More than fine. I'm here. You're here. We're in bed. Well, fine beyond the fact that we need a few more hours of sleep, but here we are. In some ways, this early morning cuddle is making up for a lack of sleep. Don't you think? We fit together so well. Perfect cuddle buddies. Babe, can I ask you a teeny tiny favor? Such a sweetie. Can you be the big spoon? It's getting super chilly, and I'm, well, my back's getting chilly, I guess, and I'm on top of you. Oh, yay. Yes, baby. That's the spot. Thank you. I'm sorry. I don't know. It's just naturally cold feet all the time, right? I admit it, though. You like it when you can get them all warm and toasty. Seriously, babe, how are you always so warm? It's like a miracle. You're like a portable furnace or personal space heater. Will I do that to you? Might get you all hot and bothered. No, it's good. Works out perfectly for me. I make you hot and bothered, and then you keep me warm. That's how it's gonna work from now on. What? No, I'm not. I'm using you as my personal heater. Well, not just my personal heater. You're more than that. So much more. You're the best cuddle buddy ever. You're my amazing partner. My subby boy. My puppy. Friend. You're a great cook. At least by my standards. And you're my lover. Sweet, sexy, just addicting in all the right ways. Oh, kiss me. But I think most importantly, you're my best friend. I mean, the sex is great. Don't get me wrong. I like experimenting with you, but when everything is all said and done and we're past that phase of being all about the physicality of the relationship, in the end, it's just, you and that person. And for me, you're that person. You're my person. I couldn't ask for anything better than you being my best friend too. Sexy, and you feed me, and you're warm, and you're the one I can open up to. Let's see my messy human side without any of that fear of being judged. You don't judge me. You accept me for me. All of me, mess and all. Oh, sweetheart. You're the one that I want to tell you how great my day went. I gather stories through the day and I think, oh, I'm going to tell him that. That one will make him smile. I want to share my best moments. And when I, cry, you always have a nice, warm hug ready. Especially on those days. I love you so much for that. Your flexibility with me. Everyone thinks I'm so strong. You're close enough to know better. Mm-hmm. From the biggest thing to the littlest things, you are the one I want to share them with. Of course, I'm here for yours. Do I not cheer you up? Do I not make you giggle? Do I not hold you when you're low? Of course, of course. That's how it is. That's how it works. Well, that's how we work. I don't know how other people do it, but shh. I know I'm sappy and you like it. Boop. Just letting me be. Seriously. I'm not sure I say it enough. How thankful I am for you. I know our relationship is not perfect, but our differences are manageable. Good even. Did I tell you a secret? Well, there are times in the early morning before you wake up, because I always wake up before you, right? Not always, but mostly. I see your face so close to mine, and I can't help but think, fuck, he chose me. That you chose to be with me. It's just amazing if I stop to think about it. That you care about me as much as I care about you boggles my mind. Yeah. And then I tell myself, enjoy him. Enjoy every moment with this man. Nothing is forever. Well, eventually somebody dies, right? That's kind of how it works. So just grabbing every moment I have with you, every moment you give me is a gift for as long as it lasts. That said, I hope you're never out of my life. Oh, God. That's very reassuring. It's good to know you are not planning on escaping anytime soon. You better not. I love you too. Love you. Yeah, I think I am just about ready to doze off. You? Okay. Oh, good morning. I'll see you in a bit.